The morning sun rose over New Haven Colony like any other day. The golden light spread across the green fields where corn and wheat grew tall. Children ran to school while their parents headed to work in the farms and factories. It was a good life on this planet at the edge of human space. Jake Morrison stood in his office looking out at the busy streets below. He was the colony administrator, the man responsible for keeping 50,000 people safe and happy. Jake had gray hair and tired eyes, but he smiled when he watched the children play. 15 years ago, this world was empty rock and dust. Now it was home. The door opened and Dr. Lisa Park walked in. She was the colony's science chief, a smart woman who studied the stars and kept the colony's systems running. But today she looked worried. "Jake, we have a problem," Lisa said. She put a data pad on his desk. "My sensors are picking up something strange. Ships are coming toward our system." Jake looked at the readings. He did not understand all the numbers, but he could see the worry in Lisa's face. "How many ships?" 23 vessels. "They're big, Jake. Much bigger than anything we have." Jake pressed a button on his desk. "Captain Brooks, please come to my office." Captain Ryan Brooks was the commander of New Haven's small defense force. He was young for a captain, only 32, but he was good at his job. His patrol ship and 3 orbital defense platforms were all that protected the colony. When Brooks arrived, Lisa showed him the sensor data. His face went pale. "Those are warships," Brooks said quietly. "Military grade, but I don't recognize the design." "Are they human?" Jake asked. "No, sir. These ships look different, like they were grown instead of built." Jake felt a cold fear in his stomach. "Try to contact them." For the next hour, they sent radio messages in every language they knew. They broadcast on all frequencies, offering welcome and asking for peaceful contact. The alien ships did not answer. Down in the colony, people went about their normal day. Maria Garcia tended her plants in the big greenhouse that fed the colony. Her husband Carlos worked in the power plant. Their daughter Amy was in school learning about Earth, the planet her parents came from but she had never seen. The Kim family ran the colony's medical center. Dr. John Kim had delivered most of the babies born on New Haven. His wife Helen managed the supply depot. Their twin sons were 18 and planning to join the Colonial Guard next year. In the farming sector, the Johnson family harvested crops that would feed the colony through winter. Old Pete Johnson had been one of the first settlers. His son Mike now ran the farm, while Mike's wife Kelly taught at the school. None of them knew that death was coming from the stars. In his office, Jake watched the alien ships get closer. They had strange shapes, curved and smooth like seashells. The hulls seemed to shift color in the light. "Still no response to our messages," Brooks reported. "But Jake, I'm reading weapons on those ships, lots of them." Lisa checked her instruments again. "They'll be in our system in 6 hours." Jake made the hardest decision of his life. "Sound the alert. Get everyone to the shelters." The warning sirens began to wail across New Haven Colony. It was a sound they had practiced but never used. People stopped what they were doing and listened. Then they began to move. The Garcias grabbed their emergency supplies and headed for the underground bunkers. The Kim family helped evacuate the hospital patients. The Johnsons loaded their trucks with food and drove toward the shelter complex. But some people did not make it in time. The alien ships arrived without warning. They came out of space like hunters, fast and silent. Captain Brooks took his patrol ship out to meet them, knowing it was hopeless but trying anyway. "Unknown vessels. This is Captain Brooks of New Haven Colony," he broadcast. "We are civilians. We mean no harm. Please respond." The aliens answered with weapons fire. Brooks' ship exploded in a ball of flame. The 3 orbital platforms lasted only seconds longer. The alien ships, smooth and deadly, turned toward the York planet below. In his office, Jake watched the defense grid die. He knew what came next. His hand shook as he activated the emergency beacon, the device that would send a distress signal to every human world. The first alien weapons hit the outer settlements. Green fire fell from the sky like rain. Where it touched, everything burned. The Johnson farm vanished in seconds. The power plant exploded, sending Maria Garcia and her family running through streets filled with smoke and terror. Jake spoke into the emergency transmitter as the building shook around him. "This is New Haven Colony. We are under attack by unknown hostiles. 50,000 civilians. They gave us no warning, no demands. They're killing everyone." Through his window he could see the aliens hunting down the fleeing colonists. Children screamed for their parents. Families died together in the streets. The beautiful green fields burned black. Dr. Lisa Park tried to save the colony's data files, the research that had taken years to complete. An alien beam cut through the science building, and Lisa was gone. The Kim Medical Center became a funeral pyre. The school where children had learned and played was now twisted metal and ash. The greenhouse where the Garcias had grown food for everyone was a crater in the ground. Jake kept talking into the transmitter even as the ceiling began to fall. "Remember us, remember what they did here. We were just farmers and teachers and doctors, we never hurt anyone. They came without warning, they killed us all." The administrative building collapsed as alien fire consumed it. Jake Morrison died, still holding the transmitter, still trying to warn the galaxy about what had happened to his people. In space, the alien ships finished their work. They had killed every human on New Haven. Every building was destroyed. Every trace of 15 years of human life was erased. Then the aliens left, disappearing into space as quickly as they had come. New Haven Colony was dead. But Jake Morrison's final message was already racing through space, carrying news of the massacre to every human world. Soon, humanity would know what had happened, and humanity would not forget. Admiral Kate Sullivan receives the distress signal aboard the UES Defiance at Fleet Command Headquarters orbiting Earth. The transmission reaches every corner of human space simultaneously, broadcast on all emergency frequencies. The reaction is immediate and unprecedented. President Ben Carter calls an emergency session of the Colonial Defense Council. The images from New Haven's final hours are broadcast across human space, showing families cut down in their homes, children's playgrounds turned to glass, and the systematic obliteration of 15 years of human achievement. Admiral Sullivan, a veteran of the border wars, has never seen humanity respond like this. Within hours, the Colonial Defense Fleet begins mobilizing. But this isn't just the military responding. Corporate security fleets from megacorporations like Chen Industries abandon their posts. Colonial militias from hundreds of worlds volunteer their ships. Even civilian transports are being hastily fitted with weapons. Dr. Alan Price, humanity's leading xenobiologist, analyzes the attack patterns and concludes this was deliberate genocide, not conquest. The attackers made no attempt to claim territory or resources. They simply eliminated every trace of human presence and left. Fleet Admiral Nick Rodriguez oversees the largest military mobilization in human history. The number keeps growing. 100,000 ships, then 300,000, then 500,000. Merchant Marine Captain Tony Liu volunteers his cargo hauler. Rookie pilot Amy Stone delays her wedding to join the fleet. Even the notorious pirate captain Carlos Mendez surrenders to authorities and offers his services. By the end of Part 2, exactly 700,000 human vessels have gathered at the staging point in the Proxima system, representing every branch of human military, every major corporation, every independent colony, and thousands of private citizens. It is the largest fleet in galactic history. The 700,000 ships of the human fleet moved through space like a metal storm. Admiral Kate Sullivan stood on the bridge of her flagship, watching the stars ahead. Somewhere out there were the aliens who killed New Haven Colony. Soon they would pay. "Admiral, we're approaching the first alien system," reported Commander Pete Davis. He was young but smart, good at reading enemy signals and breaking their codes. "All ships, battle stations," Kate ordered. "Remember, we're here for justice." The first alien outpost was called Kepler Station by human intelligence. It was a small base with only 20 alien ships defending it. When the human fleet arrived, the aliens sent a message in their strange language. Dr. Alan Price, now serving as the fleet's alien expert, translated quickly. "They're ordering us to leave their space immediately. They say we have no right to be here." Admiral Sullivan smiled coldly. Tell them we're here about New Haven Colony. Tell them 50,000 innocent people had no right to die either. The battle lasted 4 minutes. The alien ships were fast and their weapons were powerful, but they faced 700,000 human vessels. It was like trying to stop an ocean with a handful of stones. When the smoke cleared, Kepler Station was gone and the human fleet continued forward. Captain Tony Liu, the cargo ship owner turned warrior, shook his head as he looked at the wreckage. They didn't even try to surrender. They don't understand. Surrender, said Captain Maria Santos, who commanded one of the battle groups. Dr. Price thinks they've never had to fight a real war. The human fleet pushed deeper into alien space. They encountered more outposts, more defenses, more alien ships. Each battle ended the same way. The aliens fought hard but were simply overwhelmed by the size of the human response. Commander Joe Parker led the intelligence teams that studied captured alien technology. He was a technical expert who understood how weapons and ships worked. What he found worried him. These aliens, they build everything for quick strikes, he told Admiral Sullivan. Their ships are fast, their weapons hit hard, but they don't have the supplies for long fights. They expect their enemies to give up quickly. Well, they picked the wrong enemy this time, Kate replied. As the fleet advanced, they began to encounter other alien species. The first were the Altarians, tall blue beings with 4 arms. Their leader, Ambassador Krell, met with the human commanders on a neutral space station. You must stop this madness, Krell pleaded. The Zephyrians destroyed 3 of our colonies. We surrendered to save the rest of our people. You should do the same. Admiral Sullivan looked at the alien ambassador with cold eyes. How many people died in your 3 colonies? 30,000? New Haven had 50,000. Men, women, children, farmers and teachers and doctors. They killed them all just because they were human. But continuing this war will only bring more death, Krell argued. Yes, Kate agreed. For the Zephyrians. The humans also met the Vegans, a peaceful trading race that looked like giant insects. Their representative, diplomat Zix, tried to explain the Zephyrian way of war. They call themselves the Collective, Zix clicked in broken human language. They believe all space belongs to them. Other species are allowed to exist only if they submit completely. How many ships do they have? Admiral Rodriguez asked. Perhaps 200,000 in their main fleet. They have never needed more. Nick Rodriguez did the math in his head. 700,000 human ships against 200,000 aliens. The numbers looked good, but numbers weren't everything in war. Dr. Price worked with the captured alien prisoners to learn their language. The Zephyrians were strange creatures like giant jellyfish with tentacles instead of arms. They didn't seem to understand individual thinking. They share thoughts, Price explained to the command staff. One mind controlling many bodies, that's why they can't understand why we keep fighting. In their experience, destroy the leadership and the rest surrender. Except we don't work that way, Admiral Sullivan said. Exactly. They keep waiting for us to give up, but we just keep coming. The interrogations revealed more disturbing information. The Zephyrians had been doing this for centuries. They would arrive at a planet, destroy one settlement, and demand total surrender. Most species gave in rather than face complete destruction. They call us the mad species, Dr. Price reported. They can't understand why we respond to losing one colony by bringing 700,000 ships. Private messages intercepted from Zephyrian command showed their growing panic. They had never faced an enemy that simply refused to quit. Amy Stone, the young woman who had postponed her wedding to join the war, now commanded a squadron of converted civilian ships. Her pilots were shop owners, farmers, and factory workers who had never flown in combat before. But they learned fast. Target their weapon systems first, she told her squadron over the radio. We want some of them alive to answer questions. The human advance continued for weeks. Each system they entered, each battle they fought brought them closer to the Zephyrian homeworlds. The aliens tried different tactics, ambushes, surprise attacks, even sending messages offering to negotiate. Admiral Sullivan rejected every attempt at communication. They had their chance to talk before they murdered New Haven, she told her staff. Now it's too late for words. Carlos Mendez, the former pirate, had become an unlikely hero. His knowledge of dirty fighting and surprise attacks made him valuable for the special operations teams. He led raids on Zephyrian supply bases, cutting off food and fuel to their fleet. "These aliens, they fight like amateurs," he told his team, after destroying another supply depot. "They expect everyone to play by their rules. Time to teach them a new game." As the human fleet approached the edge of Zephyrian core territory, their scouts reported massive defensive preparations. The aliens were gathering every ship they had for one final battle. Commander Davis intercepted a message from the Zephyrian leadership to their fleet commanders. "The mad species approaches our sacred worlds. They have shown they will not submit. Prepare for total war." Admiral Sullivan read the translation and nodded grimly. "Good. They're finally starting to understand. Send word to all ships. We're going in." The 700,000 ships of the human fleet formed up in battle formation. Ahead of them lay the Zephyrian home system, defended by the largest alien fleet ever assembled. The final battle was about to begin. On every human ship, from the biggest warship to the smallest converted cargo hauler, the crews prepared for war. They carried with them the memory of Jake Morrison's final words, the images of children dying in the streets of New Haven, and the determination to make sure it never happened again. The hunt was almost over. Soon, justice would be served. The Zephyrian home system blazed with the light of war. Around their capital planet, 200,000 alien ships waited in defensive formation. They had gathered every vessel they possessed, every weapon they could find. This was their final stand. Admiral Kate Sullivan stood on the bridge of her flagship looking at the massive enemy fleet. Behind her, 700,000 human ships stretched across space like an angry constellation. Every ship carried the memory of New Haven Colony and the 50,000 people who died there. "All ships, this is Admiral Sullivan." She broadcast on all frequencies. "Today we finish what they started. Today we get justice for our dead." Dr. Alan Price worked frantically at his console, trying to break into the Zephyrian communication network. After weeks of studying their technology, he was close to a breakthrough. "Admiral, I think I can send a message directly to their collective mind," he said. "Every Zephyrian in their fleet would hear it at the same time." "Do it," Kate ordered. "Send them Jake Morrison's final transmission. Let them hear what they did." The alien commander, a massive Zephyrian called the Prime Overmind, sent its own message to the human fleet. Dr. Price translated the flowing alien words. "Submit, and your species will be preserved as servants. Continue this madness and face extinction." Admiral Sullivan's reply was broadcast throughout the galaxy on all frequencies. Her voice was cold as space itself. "Counteroffer. Surrender now and some of you might live to see tomorrow." The battle began with the fury of 1,000 storms. The Zephyrians attacked first, their organic ships flowing through space like deadly sea creatures. Their weapons fired beams of green energy that could melt steel and boil rock. They were fast, they were deadly, and they were desperate. But the humans had numbers, and they had rage. Captain Helen Wright led the bomber squadrons through the alien formation. Her pilots were veterans and volunteers alike, flying everything, from military fighters to converted racing ships. They dove through the enemy fleet like hawks hunting prey. "Target their command ships," Helen ordered. "Cut off the head, and the body dies." Major Danny Foster commanded the Marine boarding parties that captured alien vessels. His soldiers fought through the strange corridors of Zephyrian ships, learning to fight an enemy that thought with one mind. "These things don't fear death, like we do," Danny told his men. "But they fear pain. Make them hurt and they'll break." The space battle raged for hours. Human ships died in bursts of fire, but for every human vessel destroyed, 3 Zephyrian ships fell. The aliens fought with skill and desperation, but they had never faced anything like humanity's fury. Admiral Rodriguez coordinated the massive fleet from his command ship. He had fought in many battles, but never anything this large or this important. "All battle groups maintain pressure," he ordered. "Don't let them regroup." Amy Stone, the young pilot who had delayed her wedding for war, led her squadron against a group of alien cruisers. Her pilots were shop owners and farmers who had learned to fight in the depths of space. "Remember New Haven," she told them as they charged into battle. "Remember the children." Carlos Mendez, the former pirate-turned-war hero, used his knowledge of dirty fighting to disable alien ships without destroying them. The humans wanted prisoners, wanted answers, wanted the aliens to know they had lost. "Surrender is better than death," he told the alien crews as his Marines boarded their ships. But not by much. But the turning point came when Dr. Price finally broke through the Zephyrian communication network. He sent Jake Morrison's final message directly into the collective mind of every alien in the fleet. Suddenly, every Zephyrian heard Jake Morrison's voice. "This is New Haven Colony. We are under attack by unknown hostiles. 50,000 civilians. They gave us no warning, no demands. They're killing everyone." For the first time in their species' history, the Zephyrians experienced human emotion. They felt Jake Morrison's fear and anger. They felt Lisa Parks' determination to save her research. They felt Captain Brooks's willingness to die for his duty. They experienced humanity's refusal to surrender, and it terrified them. The alien fleet began to break apart. Ships stopped fighting and started fleeing. The collective mind that had held them together for centuries fractured under the weight of human determination. The Prime Overmind sent a desperate message. "We surrender, we yield. Stop the killing." But Admiral Sullivan was not finished. She had terms, and they were not negotiable. "Complete dismantlement of your military fleet," she broadcast to the broken alien forces. "Reparations to be paid to every human colony, and a memorial to our dead built on your homeworld." "Your terms are harsh," the Prime Overmind replied. "Our terms are justice," Kate answered. "You started this war with genocide. Be grateful we're ending it with mercy." The surviving Zephyrian ships powered down their weapons. The great battle was over. Humanity had won. In the weeks that followed, the aliens kept their word. They dismantled their warships and turned the metal over to human workers. The weapons that had killed New Haven Colony became the foundation for a memorial to the dead. Commander Pete Davis oversaw the construction of the New Haven Memorial on the Zephyrian capital world. It was built from the hulls of alien warships, twisted into a shape that reached toward the stars. The names of all 50,000 colonists were carved into the metal walls. At the center stood a statue of Jake Morrison, holding the transmitter he had used to warn the galaxy. The inscription read, "They believed in tomorrow. Their memory demands justice. Their sacrifice ensures humanity's future." Admiral Sullivan stood before the completed memorial with tears in her eyes. Around her, human ships prepared to return to their home worlds. The war was over, but its lessons would never be forgotten. Dr. Price published his research on the Zephyrian collective mind. Other species across the galaxy read his work and learned that humanity was different. They were not a species that would submit to bullies or accept genocide quietly. Ambassador Ellen Martinez addressed the Galactic Council from the memorial site. She was a diplomat, but her words carried the weight of 700,000 warships. "Humanity seeks peace," she said to the assembled representatives of a dozen species, "but we will not tolerate genocide. New Haven was the first and last human colony that will die unavenged. Remember that." The galaxy listened, and the galaxy remembered. Years later, when other species faced threats from aggressive neighbors, they often asked the same question: what would the humans do? The answer was always the same. Humans did not forget their dead, and they did not forgive those who killed innocents. Dr. Price, now serving as humanity's chief advisor on alien relations, summed it up in his final report. "We didn't start this war, but by God, we finished it." The memorial on the Zephyrian world became a place of pilgrimage for humans throughout the galaxy. Parents brought their children to see the names on the walls and to remember the lesson of New Haven Colony. Sometimes the price of peace is war. Sometimes the cost of justice is blood. But humanity had learned that some prices are worth paying, and some costs must be paid. New Haven Colony was gone, but it would never be forgotten.